I can.
Let's get started then.
Yes, sir. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to the December 16th, 2021 hearing of the Board of Liquor License Commissioners for Baltimore City. My name is Nicholas Blendi. I'm the Deputy Executive Secretary of the board, and I will be reading the instructions for how today's hearing is going to operate. As you can see, we are using the Cisco WebEx platform. It is the online meeting platform the City of Baltimore uses to conduct all its virtual meetings. The Board of Estimates, City Council, Planning, and as well as the Board of Liquor License Commissioners have used WebEx to hold virtual meetings since the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemics. Some basics: members of the general public need to have access to a laptop, iPad, a smartphone, or a similar device with camera and microphone capabilities. If you don't have microphone capabilities in your electronic device, you'll also need to use a phone number to dial in, which you can see below. And the number is 408-418-9388, access code 2346-727-8404. To participate in the meeting, you'll need to either use the web version of WebEx or download the app through your device, clicking on the link that you see on the screen above, which is also available on our website. And we strongly have encouraged you to have tested things and downloaded everything, so no updates need to happen before today's hearing. Materials, evidence, and related items for today's docket. All materials for copies of the short docket that have a brief description of today's cases, as well as the long docket, which includes all the application materials, can be found on our website under hyperlinks with today's date, December 16, 2021. The board observes a 48-hour rule for all online hearings and evidence, meaning any evidence to be considered by the board can be found in the docket and needed to have been submitted 48 hours before 11 a.m. today, which meant 11 a.m. Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. Any evidence submitted after that date is not timely and will not be considered by the board during today's hearing. All evidence should be submitted via email to the Assistant Executive Secretary, Ms. Stacy Russell, stacy.russell@baltimorecity.gov. And again, we are virtual. The board will not be accepting any documents in person for today's hearing. Any amendment to today's application made by the applicant themselves or their representatives will not be accepted after December 2nd. So should anyone attempt to amend their application today, it will be immediately postponed to a later docket date. Lastly, all applicants or their representatives have received, in addition to things being posted online about today's events, received correspondence with a letter instructing them of their hearing. Procedures, I'll read the preliminary instructions and general ground rules for today's hearing is what I'm doing. I will call each case in the order it's listed on the docket. I will then ask the applicant or his or her representatives to identify themselves and, applicable, to be sworn in by the court reporter. The board will then conduct the hearing and provide an opportunity for the applicant or his or her representative to present their case. The board may ask questions of the applicant or their counsel. Upon the conclusion, the chair will ask if there are individuals on the call who have access to the appropriate technology, if they would like to testify in support or opposition to an application. If an individual would like to testify, I will then ask you to use the raise your hand feature, which is a hand at the bottom of the WebEx platform, to be recognized, identify yourself, and be sworn in, and then testify. All individuals who testify are subject to questioning by the board and potentially cross-examination by the attorney or the applicant. And remember, if you only have access to a phone, you will not have the opportunity to testify. You have to have your camera on to be identified and sworn by the reporter. All testimony and evidence is presented to the board, and after that, the board will vote on the application before them. The Assistant Executive Secretary will then read the exhibits into the record. Note that the board, sitting in its quasi-judicial capacity today, is not authorized to discuss anything not related to a case matter on today's docket. General ground rules: please mute yourself when you're not speaking to minimize extra noise. Please identify yourself and state the spelling of your name before you speak. Please speak slowly and in a clear voice so the court reporter understands who's saying what is being said and who is saying it. I note that we do have a court reporter present, and this event is running live on Charm TV. Individuals who use profanity or disrespectful or unruly may be expelled from today's virtual hearing. All attendees, applicants, licensees, and members of the public wish to provide testimony must be sworn in prior to giving testimony. It's all done under oath. There will be no physical evidence taken at today's proceedings, and again, no amendments to any applications. Final reminders: please be prepared. Please read all your materials and tested your technology before today. Find a good, quiet space with good light and a strong internet connection so that you can be seen and heard clearly. Be present, don't multitask, and please, above all, be patient with yourself and others. Mr. Chairman, the short docket is on the screen, and the floor is yours, sir.
Let's begin.
The very first matter then for today's hearing is applicant Mark Demchak, Alma Casina Latina LLC, trading as the Alma. Premises are located at 1701 to 05 North Charles Street. And this is an application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoors table service of an existing Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Applicant is representing himself and has been moved into the panel and should be turning on his camera now, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, Mr. Demchak. Are you there?
I am. Okay, there we go. Okay, that worked.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm going to ask the reporter to swear you in, please.
Yes, please.
Okay. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay. Mr. Demchak, we'd appreciate if you would tell us about yourself, your background, your experience, and what your plans are.
Myself, I'm started life as an architect and married into the restaurant business. And we are continuing the operation of Alma Cocina Latina, which is at 1701 North Charles Street. We were in Canton and moved and reconfigured ourselves in Station North, which was a great move. We survived the pandemic doing community meals with World Central Kitchen. We served 150,000 meals during the pandemic. So now we'd like to continue as the restaurant, transfer the liquor license, and continue to serve food and Venezuelan culture to Baltimore.
And who's going to be in charge of the operation, Mr. Demchak?
I am.
Just you, or will you have managers and others working
Oh,
with
yes, I have managers and a chef, and yes.
And are you tip certified?
I am not, but I'm doing it now. Our bartender is tip certified, and I was trying to get his card for today, and bartenders sleep late, so I apologize for that, but I'm going through the course now.
Okay. So those who handle the alcohol will be certified?
Yes.
Okay. And they're familiar with their rules and regulations concerning sales to minors and identifications and all that sort of thing?
Yes, they've been bartending in the city for quite a while.
Okay.
Good number of years.
Okay. And so it's a continuation of the operation you've had, but this time transferring the liquor license. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Bundy?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I don't see anyone who's raised their hand.
Okay, thank you. Well, Mr. Demchak, I know I don't see any violations on the record here. In light of all the materials contained in the application and your testimony this morning, I'd vote to approve your application to transfer this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license with continued live entertainment and outdoor table service. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I vote to approve application to transfer ownership with the continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
On the application and the testimony from Mr. Demchak, I too would approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of live entertainment and outdoor table service.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Demchak. Good luck to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you all.
Welcome.
Take care.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant will receive follow-up correspondence via U.S. mail with instructions on how to complete today's preliminarily approved transfer of ownership, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing.
Okay.
Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
I'll stop video now.
Yep, I'm going to move you off and mute you. Thank you,
Great.
sir.
Thanks very much. Take care.
The next matter on today's docket is applicant Fisaha Hagos Teveldemeden, Hagos LLC, trading as trade name pending. Premises are located at 865 West 36th Street, Baltimore, Maryland, 21211. And this is an application to transfer ownership only of a Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Harry Previs is counsel on this and has been moved into the panel, Mr. Chair.
Morning, Mr. Previs. Please identify yourself for the record.
Morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. Harry Previs. With me is Mr. John Madden.
Are you going to proffer this?
Yes, I'll proffer this. Mr. Tweldeman, this is a Class A beer, wine, and liquor transfer of ownership. Mr. Tweldeman has 2 years of experience previously working in a liquor store at 1000 West Lombard Street. He's an immigrant from Eritrea. He's very involved in his church. He plans to run the business by himself with the help of his girlfriend. So he'll be there every day that they're open. And we have reached out to the community, and they approved of Mr. Tweldeman. He actually plans on naming the liquor store Killer's Liquors after the famous cat in Hamden, and he's working with the landlord, Miss Yo, of putting a mural up on the side of the building.
All right. So is Mr. I'm sorry if I can't pronounce his name properly, but is your client and his girlfriend, are they both going to be certified?
Yes, they will be. He is not now currently. He's been working getting the business together. It's been closed up a little bit, but he will be tip certified.
And you said there's community support, and this is in Hamden?
Yeah, that's the Hamden. We spoke with the executives, and I believe they mentioned it at their latest community association meeting.
Okay. This operation had some violations in the past there over 10 years ago. They involved gambling and whatever. So he's aware of all of our rules and regulations?
Yes, he is.
Okay. And I don't really know the significance of that name, but in Baltimore, I would be cautious about it.
It's a cat.
Okay. So the commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Lots of questions about the cat, but no questions regarding the applicant.
Okay. Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendi?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who's raised their hand, and nor has the ghost of Killer the Cat weighed in.
All right. Ms. Previs, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of this Class A beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also vote to approve application to transfer ownership.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Previs, I too would approve the application to transfer ownership.
Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Thank you, Mr. Previs. Good luck to your client.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant and counsel will receive follow-up instructions from this agency via mail on how to complete the transfer of ownership that was preliminarily approved by the board today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
The next matter before the board, applicant Gurinder Singh Sandhu, Gurdial Singh, and Elizabeth L. Antonato, 325 Bel Air Incorporated, trading as Sheldon's Lounge. Premises are located at 4325 to 27 Bel Air Road. This is an application to transfer ownership only of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. And Sean Harvey is counsel on this case and has been moved into the panel, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Good morning, Mr. Harvey. You want to identify yourself for the record, please?
Yes. Can you see me yet? Can you? Okay, Sean Harvey, 309 South Conklin Street, Baltimore 21224, for the applicants. And I'm trying. Oh, I see start video. Okay, fine.
Are you there? There you are. Okay.
Okay, and then,
You want to proffer for us, Mr. Harvey?
yes, I will. I just wanted to make sure that my clients are on the same, in case you wanted to swear them in, but I'm gonna be proffering. My clients, I guess, Green Wright is, Mr. Gurdal Singh. He's the treasurer of the corporation known as, Sheldon, 2021 Inc. And then, screen left is Mr. Gurinder Singh Sandhu. He's the president. Each of them, control 47.5% interest in the corporation. There was another member of the corporation named Elizabeth Anatato. She's a 5% shareholder, and she's the corporate secretary. She is already on the license and will remain on the license. She's not able to be present today, and I hope the board can excuse her. She's not here because of illness. The applicants have entered into an agreement to purchase this business from 4325 Bel Air Road, Inc. for $40,000. They also are about to enter into a lease agreement with the owner of the business premises, whose name is Rajinder Singh Sandhu. It'll be a 5-year lease with 5-year option. The beginning monthly rent is $3,278 per month. As for experience, Mr. Gurdal Singh has been working at these premises for the last 2 years, and before that, he worked at another liquor store called Crosstown Liquors for another year. So he has at least 3 years' experience selling alcohol in the city of Baltimore. Mr. Gurinder Singh Sandhu unfortunately has no experience, but he has been certified in the sale of alcoholic beverages. He has a certificate of completion. Actually, both of them do. I'm holding them in my hands, and they'll be submitted to the board with the other documents that are necessary. There are 2 employees, in addition to the 2 men on screen, who work at this tavern, and my clients tell me that they will be using workers' comp insurance, as they know it's a requirement. As I said, they both have alcohol awareness training, and both of them are familiar with the rules and regulations of the liquor board. They took the occasion to contact the local community organization, Ms. Rita Cruz, she's the president of the Bel Air Edison Community Association, and she apparently sent an email in consent to this transfer. I believe it was yesterday. I have a copy of it in my hand, but she basically says that she's in agreement with this transfer. And I leave it to the board if they have any questions of the 2 present.
Will the employees also be tip certified?
Yes.
Okay. All right, commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have anyone else who wishes to testify, Mr. Blendi?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I don't see any member of the public. The Chief Chris Amalis I'm not sure.
Is he there?
Good afternoon, sir. Yeah, just a couple questions for the applicant, if you don't mind.
Are you going to be testifying, Mr. Chris Mollis?
I'm not going to testify. I just wanted to ask him a couple questions.
Go ahead.
Sir, good afternoon. You being an employee there for a while, you know that the place is very challenged with the area.
Excuse me, Chief. If you're going to ask him questions, he has to be sworn.
Okay.
So let's get him sworn in.
Raise your right hand.
Okay. Which person should I have sworn?
I think he's speaking of.
I think he means Mr. Gurdial Singh, the one who's been working there.
Okay. All right. Mr. Singh, please raise your right hand. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead. Go ahead, Chief. You have questions?
Yeah. Yes, sir. You working there, sir, for a couple of years, you know that the place is challenged with crime immediately outside of the location. And also that the place has had some issues not opening up the tavern portion, which has made some community members upset. So I just want to know your plans for the inside. You're going to open up your lounge, and you understand that you cannot sell packaged goods without the lounge being open?
No, the lounge is open all the time. The lounge
Okay.
open lounge too. Yes, sir.
Okay,
There
and
are no other doors
cameras,
for the lounge.
and cameras, are you going to have cameras on the property
Yes, sir.
inside and out
Yes,
that are going to be working?
yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. That's all I had, Your Honor. Sorry for taking up time.
Okay, thank you. I
All right, thank
appreciate
you.
it. Okay. And I'm sorry, Mr. Blendi, did we already ask about public comment?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chair, and that was all we have. Nothing further.
Okay. All right, Mr. Harvey, then thank you. On the basis of the materials contained in the application, your proffer and the testimony received, I vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership.
Based upon the proffer of the application and the testimony, I too approve the application to transfer ownership.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
Okay, all right. Thank you, Mr. Harvey. Good luck to your folks.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant will receive follow-up correspondence from via U.S. mail from this agency with instructions on how to complete today's preliminarily approved transfer, which by law must occur within 180 days of 2 days hearing. Don't know why that took such difficulty. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
Then, in that case, the next matter before the board today, applicant Nick John Lambropoulos, Pickett Brewing LLC, trading as Pickett Brewing Company. Proposed premises are located at 1130 South Paca Street, and this is an application for a Class D beer license, a new Class D beer brewery license issued under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article Sections 12-401 and 12-604, authorizing the board to issue a Class D beer license to an applicant who holds a Class 5 brewery license. Applicant is also requesting outdoor table service and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Joseph Woolman is counsel on this case and has been moved into the room, and Mr. Lambropoulos has also been moved into the room.
Thank you. Mr. Wallman, good morning. Will you identify yourself for the record, please?
Good morning, Mr. Chair. For the record, Joseph R. Woolman here on behalf of the applicant.
You wish to proffer this for us?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. It's nice to see everybody. Happy holidays. Again, my name is Joseph R. Woolman. I'm here on behalf of the applicant, Mr. Lambropoulos, if I'm saying that correctly, Nick, I apologize. With me also is Kate Conway from Pickett Brewing. As has already been stated, the licensed premises is located at 1130 South Paca Street. I submitted a hearing outline, which I believe should be part of the record in your folder. I'll quickly proffer the contents of that hearing outline. This is an application for a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license to accompany a state-approved Class 5 brewery pursuant to 12401 and 12604 of the Alcoholic Beverage Article of the Annotated Code of Maryland. And I believe in your files, we have submitted copies of both our Class 5 manufacturer's license and our Class 7 wholesaler's license. The property is located at 1130 South Paca Street, which is a mixed industrial and commercial area near the intersection of West Street and South Paca Streets. It's 2 blocks directly west of M&T Bank Stadium. The premises includes a tap room adjacent to the brewery, as well as an outdoor service area to the rear. And we did include a copy of our site plan with our application. The individual applicant, Mr. Lambropoulos, is familiar with the rules and regulations of the Baltimore City Liquor Board. He pledges to abide by them. He was born in 1960 and lives in Baltimore City. Regarding community outreach, the management team continues to enjoy a positive working relationship with both Pigtown Main Street and the Carroll Camden Business Association. I believe there's a representative from Pigtown Main Street in attendance today in support of our application. Regarding the criteria to approve the application under Article Alcoholic Beverage Article Section 4210A, the public need and desire for the license. The ability to serve alcohol as a complement to the brewery enhances its ability to provide a unique service to the residents and visitors to the area. Regarding the number and location of existing license holders, there's one other license in the area according to BLLC records, and it is not a Class D license. Regarding the potential effect on existing license holders of the license for which the application is made, the location of the license complements and will add to a rapidly developing sports and entertainment district in this part of the city. The potential commonality or uniqueness of the services and products to be offered, excuse me, by the business of the applicant. They will offer locally craft brewed products in a very unique setting. The impact of the license for which the application is made on the health, safety, and welfare of the community, including issues related to crime, traffic, parking, or convenience. The operators are making significant improvements to the site. They will continue to seek the input of the surrounding businesses and residents. Any other factors to be considered, our manager, Kate Conway, who is present today, and the master brewer, Jason Howard, are both experienced in the industry, and our manager, Kate Conway, is tip certified.
Okay. Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
We have public comment, Mr. Blendi.
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chairman, no one has raised their hand.
Woman, that on the basis of the materials that you submitted, the application and your proffer, I vote to approve this application for a new Class D beer license, brewery license with outdoor table service and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also vote to approve the application for a new Class D beer brewery license and the request for outdoor table service and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Woolman, I too would vote to approve the new Class D beer brewery license, requesting outdoor table service and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
Like all exhibits for the record, Board Exhibit Number 1, Business Plan.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Woolman. Good luck to your client.
Thank you very much. I apologize. I realized I just had my video off, so I apologize for that. It's nice to see everyone. Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicant and counsel will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to obtain the license that was preliminarily approved today by the board. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move to the next matter?
Yes.
Then the next item before the board today is, I'll move the applicants in first. Applicant Chanel Wright, EDR LLC, trading as EDR. Proposed premises are located at 1001 Cathedral Street. This is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Articles Sections 12-1609B and E, which authorizes that the board may issue an additional Class B beer, wine, and liquor license to a current Class B beer, wine, and liquor license holder if the new establishment has, 1, a minimum capital investment of $5,000 for restaurant facilities not including the cost of land or buildings, and 2, a minimum seating capacity of 125 individuals. The board is also authorized under the same sections of the code that they may waive the capital investment and seating capacity requirements if the board holds a public hearing and reviews the business practice of the license applicant and determines that the license holder is in good standing and has a reputable business practice. Additionally, the applicant is also requesting, actually the live entertainment is not part of the request, I don't believe, is also requesting outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Applicants are representing themselves and Ms. Wright, and there's also Mr. Thomas who are in the room. Please use the start video button at the bottom of the screen if you already haven't done that.
All right, let's swear Ms. Wright and Mr. Thomas, please.
Edit, but that's
Okay.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, I see Ms. Wright. Okay, Mr. Thomas, can you turn on your video?
Good morning, everyone.
Can you turn on your video, Mr. Thomas, so I can swear you in?
I thought I did. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, you're good. I can see you now.
Okay.
Mr. Thomas and Ms. Wright, if you can both raise your right hands. Okay. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Thank you.
Okay, good morning, Ms. Wright and Mr. Thomas. Ms. Wright, I have some questions for you. So you hold a license at the Civil, right, at 518 North Charles Street?
Correct.
Okay, and this would be a second Class B license, and you're seeking a waiver of the $500,000 capital investment requirement, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so we have to ask you about your business practices and what your plans are for this location. This is the former City Cafe space, is that correct?
Correct.
Do you want to tell us about your plans?
Yes. So we did take over the city, moving to City Cafe. It was previously City Cafe, and just to provide like a dining experience in the Mount
But,
Vernon
sorry,
area.
I'm having a hard time understanding you. Do you need to wear the mask?
I'm in a hospital, so
Oh, okay.
hold on. Let me go to a secluded, please. I'm sorry. Yeah, so we did take over that location and basically just to provide an upscale dining experience in the Mount Vernon area. A little different from the Civil. We plan for it to be like, more reserved and just a different menu and offering like different drinks and things like that.
And who will be handling alcohol at your establishment?
The bar manager and the bartenders.
Will they be tip certified?
Yes, they are. Tip certified, alcohol awareness, yes.
And you have entered into a memorandum of understanding with the Mount Vernon Belvedere Association, is that correct?
I do have an MOU, yes.
Okay, and so you've worked out any issues that they might have about your times and all that sort of thing?
Yes, correct.
Okay. And there were some issues, COVID-related issues at the Civil, but I think they've all been resolved.
They have, yes.
And so are you, when will this be open and operating? Is it open and operating now?
It is not open and operating now.
We're
This is the
actually,
last piece. Yeah.
yeah, we're waiting for this.
Yeah, this is the last piece.
Okay,
So
so you expect to open soon?
Yes.
as soon as we can, yes, ASAP actually, yesterday.
Your role in this?
Well, I'm acting as GM at this point. I'm actually running the restaurant.
Okay. And are you tip certified, sir?
Yes.
All right. The commissioners have questions?
No questions.
So I have a question. Ms. Wright, so you'll have two licenses, assuming we approve this, two licenses. How will you manage both restaurants?
Well, I have a GM in place at the Civil, and Paul Thomas will also, or Edwin Thomas will also be running EDR in my absence. So I have plenty of staff on hand to be able to run both of them at the same time.
Okay. All right. No further questions.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendi?
If any member of the public wishes to be heard before the board and testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who has raised their hand.
Okay. All right, Ms. Wright, on the basis of the materials that you submitted to the board, your testimony and that of Mr. Thomas, first of all, I would vote to exercise our authority under 12-1609E and waive the capital investment requirement of $500,000. You've submitted evidence of it over $300,000 in capital investment here. And you do have 125 seats. So I would vote to approve this application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. And I note that this license does not contain live entertainment provision.
Correct.
Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, for clarity, I got to vote on the waiver first, then the,
Yes, sir.
okay. I vote to approve the waiver, and also based on testimony provided today, I vote to approve application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license, and also requesting the outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application and the testimony under Section 12-1609E, I too would grant the waiver, recognizing that Ms. Wright has invested more than $200,000 and meets the seating requirement. And I'd also vote to approve the new Class B license with outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. And also note that live entertainment is not a part of this license, and that the MOU will be attached to the license to the extent it's enforceable by law.
Yeah, I want to add that I think Commissioner Reisinger and I both agreed that, I'm not meaning to speak for you, Commissioner Reisinger, but that the MOU will be a requirement on the license, the terms.
I approve.
Okay, Ms. Russell?
No, as it is for the record.
All right, well, thank you, Ms. Wright. Mr. Thomas, good luck to you.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
That concludes this matter before the board. Applicants will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency on how to physically complete the the new license and have it be issued that was preliminarily approved by the board today.
Thank you.
You're
Thank
welcome.
you. Bye.
Next case, Mr. Blendi?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman. The next matter before the board today, applicant Cynthia. Oh, I do note that item number 6 was postponed as noted on the short docket. So we're now on item number 7 is applicant Cynthia Gibson, Moulin Rouge Cuisine LLC, trading as Charred City. Premises are proposed to be located at 5402 Harford Road. And this is an application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license under the provisions of Alcoholic Beverages Article 12-1603 C1 little 2, requiring $200,000 in capital investment in restaurant fixtures and facilities, a minimum of 40% food sales, and seating capacity for a minimum of 75 people, but not more than 150 individuals, requesting live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Fogelman is counsel, and I have moved him into the panel, Mr. Chair.
All right, good morning, Mr. Fogelman. Please identify yourself for the record.
Yes, good morning, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Can you see and hear me?
Yes.
All right, let me make sure you can see and hear my client as well. Okay, there she is. All right, thank you very much. Steve Fogelman on behalf of Cynthia Gibson and Moulin Rouge Cuisine LLC. May I proceed?
You may, please.
Okay, thank you, Your Honor. We've got Class B application for outdoor tables and live entertainment. I am excited to represent Ms. Gross. It's always fun to represent a restaurant that's already been in existence, in this case for 2.5 years, serving the Hamilton Lauraville community well with Tunisian-inspired and vegan and other brick oven pizzas, and in fact, Mediterranean entrees. Miss Gibson is much beloved by the neighbors. We did get a late letter in from Hamilton Lauraville Main Street signed by Daniel P. Doty, the interim executive director, in support of the application. I did present, and this is a, just so you know, this is a case that Mr. Catelli had assisted the applicant. He is in Ocean City now for the winter, and it is his birthday today, so I wanted to give him a shout out. Okay, so we have a small operating budget. There was one large item, and they pretty much speak for themselves. $28,000 on the brick oven, the plumbing $13,000, finishes $14,000, and I did ask Ms. Gibson to break down further the $124,000 other investment in food service equipment and smallware. That includes such things as $8,000 for a dough mixer, $2,000 for a food warmer, $5,000 for shelving and uniforms, a $2,000 coffee maker, $3,500 wood cage to hold the fuel for the brick oven pizza and others, and $15,000 for signage. She has, and like I said, been in business for 2.5 years, so it's easy to spend the money in that period of time. She has incredible alcohol management experience. And as you can imagine, this restaurant, which is serving the community, alcoholic beverages are only an amenity and a convenience for her customers. They enjoy her place now on a BYOB basis. She served for many years at Dover Downs in Milford at the casino, working as a server. Ms. Gibson, furthermore, spent time at Nick's Seafood Market in Cross Street Market, serving customers. She's also served alcohol at the Creative Alliance and the Hippodrome. So she's well aware of when we need to cut a customer off or when we need to deny service to somebody who shows up intoxicated. Her ID policy will be to card everyone under 40 years old. She is already alcohol management certified, and her servers will be as well.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have others who wish to testify, Mr. Bundy?
I believe we may, if I may check. If anyone wishes to testify, please use the raise your hand feature on the WebEx platform. I do see two people here, but they have not raised their hand. Ms. Blum, did you wish to testify? I know you had mentioned it at the outset, I think.
Yes, sir. I can't raise my hand, unfortunately.
Okay, but you wish to testify?
Yes.
Okay, I will move you in and hold on. Mr. Doty, did you wish to testify?
Again, we submitted the letter of support. If the board has any questions, I'm happy to answer them, and that's what I'm here for. But I have nothing to add beyond the letter of support.
So then I will move Ms. Blum in, Mr. Chair.
That's fine.
Please hit the start video button, Ms. Blum.
Okay. All right. Ms. Blum, please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
Yes.
Thanks.
Okay, Ms. Blum, what did you want to tell us?
Just want to thank the board for the opportunity to provide support for Ms. Gibson for her license. She's had repeated conversations with the community. We're in the process of working out an MOU and are excited to support her new license and business.
Okay, that's great. Thank you. Anything further?
No.
All right. Okay. Well, Mr. Fogelman, then, on the basis of the materials contained in the application, your proffer, and the testimony received, I vote to approve this new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license with live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also vote to approve the application for a new Class B beer, wine, and liquor restaurant license, and also the request for live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and also delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, and the testimony of Ms. Blum, I too would approve the application for a new Class B license with live entertainment, outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
I just want to note that we appreciate the support that Mr. Doty and the Hamilton Lauraville Association have offered, and if there is an MOU worked out, as Ms. Blum suggested, that can be submitted to the liquor board, and we will attach it to the license. Thank you. Ms. Russell, do we have exhibits?
Yes, I'd like to call exhibits to the record. Board Exhibit number 1, letter of support from Hamilton and Lauraville Main Street.
Thank you. Well,
Thank
thank
you.
you. Good luck to your clients.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board today. Applicant will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to obtain the new Class B liquor license that the board preliminarily approved today. Mr. Chair, are you ready to move forward?
I am.
The next matter before the board today, applicant Savita Gajer and Oscar Cooper, Savita G LLC, trading as York Club. Premises are located at 5407 York Road, and this is an amended application to transfer ownership from a contract purchaser of a Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license. Mr. Fogelman is counsel and is in the room, Mr. Chair.
Would you identify yourself again, please, Mr. Fogelman?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicants. I have Savita Gajari here. Can you see her as well?
We can. You want to proffer this one?
I sure will. This was a couple of years ago. We had a contested matter with this. Since that time, there was serious problems with the building. Ms. Gajari has invested over $400,000 just into the structure of this building. I visited the establishment several years ago. It was run down. It is a new, I mean, it is gorgeous and an improvement to the block at this time. We do have a signed MOU between Mid-Govans Community Association and the applicants here that would restrict hours, and they've been asked to be printed on the license as part of this MOU. The usual things like 24-hour security cameras, maintaining exterior lighting, that doesn't even have to go on the license. But what we've agreed to put on the license is the operational hours, which are 9 a.m. to midnight, Monday through Wednesday, 9 a.m. to 1 a.m. on Thursdays, 9 a.m. to 2 a.m. Friday and Saturdays, and noon to 12 a.m. on Sundays. That MOU has been executed between Mid-Govans and the applicants. We do not know, but we'll find out in a minute if the president of the York Road Partnership is on the line. They were also going to sign on to this MOU. So everyone will be alcohol management certified. We've been to community meetings in the past, back when Councilman Henry was leading the way, then Councilman Henry. So we are certainly aware, and the applicants are certainly aware of the complaints that were received under the prior ownership at this establishment, and they're going to do everything they can do to prevent some of those problems from reoccurring. And obviously, limiting the hours is a big first step there.
Okay, so do we have others on the line then, Mr. Blendi?
We do, Mr. Chair.
All right, let's bring them in.
All right, and I know the Honorable Mark Conway, the councilman for the district, is here and wished to testify. And also Lisa O'Reilly has raised her hand, and I'm moving her in. And then if any other member of the public who is here wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. That's
all right. Thank you, Nick, and appreciate you for. Can you guys hear me?
Let's swear in Councilman Conway and Ms. O'Reilly, please.
Okay. Just need you to turn on your video, Councilman Conway and Ms. O'Reilly.
There we go.
Okay, and Ms. O'Reilly, if you can turn on your video as well, and I'll swear you both in together.
Oh,
yeah, there should be a button that says start video at the bottom of your app.
I think I have it there now. Yeah. Am I on there? Okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Please raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God, or under penalty of perjury?
I do, yes.
And Ms. O'Reilly?
I do.
Sorry, I think Ms. O'Reilly's frozen.
Okay, well, let's start with the councilman.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Ms. Conway, what did you want to tell us?
Yes, I said.
So, I wanted to testify against this action for a number of reasons. If you take a look at a map of the area, this is going to be the third liquor store on the block. There's literally one right next door and another right across the street. And if you zoom out just a tad, a block and a half down, there's an additional liquor store. With a little bit of history and insight on this part of the York Road corridor, this has historically been one of the two most tenuous locations along the corridor. Along Tunbridge, we've had historically a ton of violence on that block, and this is immediately north of the store. And in the last year, so the former operator essentially shut down the operation back in 2018 and only opened up the shop for a couple hours on Sunday. And during the pandemic, the store was essentially dormant. And without activity at the store in that section of York Road, it's been much quieter, much safer, and we've had a much better outcome in the area. So I think the calls to BPD were reduced to near half. We've had a lot of progress in the area as of late, and I don't think that adding the additional liquor store or transferring that license to activate it as a liquor store is necessarily going to help the area going forward. So I am personally opposed to this. I'm glad to see Lisa on the line as well. She also was a part of YRP I don't, it's best I understand that YRP is supporting this. So with that, I'll turn it over.
Okay.
Cross-examination?
Yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Councilman, you understand that this is in the Mid-Govans Community Association District, isn't that right?
This is, yes, between Mid-Govans and Woodburn McCabe.
All right,
So
and
it's right along the edge.
Okay, and you understand that President Cedric Crump of the Mid-Govans Community Association has signed on to an MOU with the applicants, right?
I did not know that.
Okay.
When can you clarify when that happened?
Well, that's been in the works with Miss Becky Witt from the Community Law Center for months and months and months. It was submitted to the board yesterday. I'm speaking, Miss O'Reilly. Okay, thank you. And Councilman, do you believe in self-determination for the community groups that make up your district? Do you think they ought to have a say?
I do. I think this area, of course, is proximate to multiple community associations, Homeland being immediately west of literally right across the street from the area. And like I said, Woodburn McCabe being immediately south. So yes, I do. However, I realize, especially with the York Road corridor, a number of communities are impacted by that decision. So we tend to have insight from multiple communities, not just one, when we are doing things.
Right, and that's why you utilize the York Road Partnership. Isn't that a fact?
Yes, it is.
Okay, and whatever York Road Partnership says, that carries a lot of weight, doesn't it, with you?
It does.
Okay, thank you very much.
But so I'm a little confused myself now, both gentlemen. I'm looking at the agreement, which was not filed timely, so we really shouldn't be considering it, but we can't ignore it in a way. And it says it's an agreement between the Mid-Govans Community Association, the York Road Partnership, Inc., and the applicants here. But the York Road Partnership has not signed off on it. So what's the status of this?
I'll be happy to address that. It was a timing issue. I'm hoping Mr. Forrest is on the line from York Road Partnership.
I'll be speaking on behalf of the York Road Partnership.
Is that you, Ms. O'Reilly?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay. So can you address this issue?
Absolutely. So in 2018, that's 3 years ago, this establishment was a particularly nasty establishment. It was a particularly erroneous one with a lot of crime, a lot of drunkenness, a lot of public drunkenness. It's actually attached to a church, as well as being attached to another license, and as across the street, another license. And as the councilman says, it really doesn't add to, in fact, it takes away from the master plan that we have as the York Road Partnership and as the councilman's area in general. And as it was operated before, it was a particularly dangerous license. In the past, when the transfer was first established in 2018, Mr. Fogelman and the actual owner of this license, Mr. Andy, Miss Savita's husband, he also owns another establishment, Chimeno's, up the street on the city line. York Road Partnership did not sign on to this MOU at the time and has not signed on to it now. This MOU was actually put on file in 2019, not recently, not yesterday. So that's a little disingenuous by Mr. Fogelman, and I'll be very honest about that. The reason why this MOU was put on file is because originally, when the family were applying to transfer this license, they erroneously wrote their application, and I'm not too sure who's on the commission, on the board today, who was there in 2019. This is 3 years ago. And Becky Witt was representing Mid-Govans at the time. We were very annoyed that there seemed to have been this sense of putting one across and one over the community. Since then, there has been no contact with the potential owners of this license. And I say potential because we reserve the right. I have talked to Cedric, and I'm saying this under oath. we reserve the right to withdraw that MOU. We do not trust that this operator is going to operate with any sort of honesty, any sort of trust. We don't trust that this operator is going to do the things that are written down. Hence the reason why the unusual move at the time in 2019 to write onto the actual license the opening hours. That's not usual. We did that with our hands tied. We were forced to do that. We have now another opportunity 2.5 years later, now that this establishment has been closed in this 2.5 years. The change on the street has been amazing. No Sunday opening whatsoever on the street. All 3 liquor licenses that are literally within feet of each other are closed. The street is clean. The street does not have any public loitering, drunkenness, drug activity outside that door. Now, Ms. Savita and her family are quite entitled to do what they want with the building. And thank you for the restoration of the building. I have to admit it was in pretty bad shape. However, we're not protesting specifically Ms. Savita or Mr. Cooper, who is the 1% investor, which I will put forward to the board as a cynical move to give this license a city address. Both of these people, Ms. Savita does not live in Baltimore City. She lives in Ellicott City. We do not trust that she will be there 24/7 as during opening time to supervise. From 12 midnight until 2 a.m., I do not trust that there won't be good supervision of this license. Plus, as I say, in the last 3 years, we have had complete calm. If this license is to be transferred and to open, we will have, and we will go backwards to more of the same, and we do not want that. We have an opportunity, board, to take control of what we want for our future as the York Road. And this particular license was never anything but negative, never anything but dragging us down. And we don't trust that it's going to be like that going forward. I'm sorry to have to say that, but it's not just Miss Savita. It's the location. To be honest with you, board, the Pope could run this license for all I care. It's the location. If they want to take the BD7 license and bring it to another building, we're happy with that. But the fact that this is a BD7, also some of the reconstruction of the building includes a 3rd door, which we have no idea what it's for. We don't know what's going to happen upstairs. We are not, again, very confident that what we're being told, which is storage, would not turn into some sort of club later on. And we're not ready to take the risk in a way. So what I would like to say to the board is, know that this has been going on for a very long time. Know that this particular license has been a troubled license for years. And that there's nothing to tell us that this license won't improve at all. And for the last 2 years, it's been quiet. And we would like it to remain that way. So officially, that particular MOU, we'd like to withdraw that.
Well, you're not, so it doesn't matter. So Mr. Fogelman, do you have questions?
Yes,
thank
I
you.
do. Yes, Miss O'Reilly. Miss O'Reilly, back
yes,
when the elderly Miss Ika was running this establishment, the prior owner, you would go in there and you would yell at her and tell her everything she was doing wrong. Isn't that right, Miss O'Reilly?
No, that is not true. That's a lie.
You didn't visit her establishment and...
That's not true.
But you never went into the establishment?
Oh, I did go into the establishment, yes.
And did you ever talk to Miss Ika when you were there?
I talked to her, yes.
And you told her what she was doing wrong, right?
No, I did not tell her what she was doing wrong, nor did I lie to her, sir.
Okay, but it's
nor did I yell at her. No.
It's fair to say.
In fact, actually, I sat down for a drink with her.
Okay, Ms.
No, it's not
O'Reilly?
fair to say. No, it's not fair to say.
Okay, Miss O'Reilly, is it fair to say that you didn't like? Miss O'Reilly, please let me finish my question. Is it fair to say that you weren't satisfied with the previous management of this establishment?
Of course not, no.
Okay.
I've just said that, Mr. Fogelman. I said it wasn't run well. Don't characterize me as somebody who will go in there and object to anybody who runs this license. I've just said, I don't care if the Pope ran this license. The license is not in the place that we want it, and the street is much better off for this license not operating.
Okay.
I did not yell at anybody. Please don't do that.
Miss O'Reilly, I'll do what I need to do here. Okay. Thank you.
You won't lie, though.
Miss
You won't lie
O'Reilly,
to me.
Miss O'Reilly, I have another question for you.
Right.
Isn't it fair to say that you don't have any inside knowledge on any negotiation of MOUs between Mid-Govans and these applicants in the last year and a half?
There hasn't been a negotiation of an MOU in the last year and a half, Mr. Fogelman. Look
Okay.
at the date on that MOU, sir. It was 2019. There has been no negotiation. I talked to Mr. Crump. There has been no negotiation of an MOU. Look at the
Okay.
date on that, sir.
Okay.
There's
Miss
been
O'Reilly,
no.
Miss
You
O'Reilly,
you're manipulating that MOU.
Miss O'Reilly.
Oh, you're asking me the questions,
Yes, I
and
am,
I'm not
Miss
allowed to
O'Reilly,
answer.
and you're out
Sir,
of order.
look at the date on the MOU. Pardon?
Miss O'Reilly, I have another question for you. So if I told you that Miss Becky Witt from the Community Law Center and Mr. Cedric Crump of Mid-Govans and I and the applicants have been on numerous emails over the last year, would that come as a surprise to you?
It would, yes.
Okay, thank
Because
you.
I have been in conversation with Mr. Crump. I have been in conversation with Mr. Crump, and I have an email saying that he is not in support of this license. And if you want, I'll get Mr. Crump on the phone, and he can tell you that himself.
Okay.
Sir, Mr. Fogelman, while I appreciate you have to defend your client,
So Raleigh, I'm sorry, but I'm
this
running.
goes to.
So let's stop this now. All right. So what else do we have? Anything further?
That was everyone who had raised their hand, Mr. Chair.
If I may be heard.
I want to see if the commissioners have questions.
Sure.
So I have a question, Mr. Chairman. Can you hear me?
Go ahead, please.
So Councilman Conway and Mr. Riley, thank you for coming to testify. I guess what I'm struggling with is it appears that there is in fact an MOU that was recently signed with Mid-Govans and the applicant. That's a fact as of December 15th, according to our records. Does that give you, no, Mr. Riley, please let me finish. Does that give you any pause to perhaps consider revisiting a discussion with the applicant? And where I'm going with this, if the chairman will indulge me, is perhaps it's worth including our community liaison and the councilman and Ms. O'Reilly in a pre-existing MOU to see if it can be expanded to address your concerns.
Sir, with all due respect, the only thing that will address our concerns is if this license does not continue. I'll be honest with you.
I understand that, and that's clear. That's clear from your testimony. I guess the other point though is that the existing owner has a right to sell its license, and so the question is, where this is a transfer of ownership. It's not a transfer of a location, and I recognize that that's what you would prefer to have, but that's not what's in front of us. So again, I'm trying to see if there's another way to strike a balance here, recognizing that the owner has a right to sell its license. Now, it's not the perfect situation. I recognize you'd prefer it to be at a different location. But since there is an MOU that has been signed as of yesterday, does that, again, give you any pause to say maybe we should look at this differently?
So just before, sorry, may I just say something about this MOU? This MOU was actually written in 2019.
We have no way of knowing.
Mr. Fogelman may have presented
We don't have any way of knowing. It wasn't filed timely anyway, so let's move on. Does Councilman have a response to the Commissioner's question?
Sure. I forgive the background noise, but yes, I am more than happy to continue a conversation. I can tell you though, the same concerns exist given the location of the area. That is our most violent corner in the district. End of conversation. So there are going to be significant concerns there. We've had some significant success in the last year. We've seen crime go down, violent crime, shootings, homicides, down 31% in the last year. I'm proud of that. I want that to continue. I'm happy to have a conversation with the applicant. They're very serious concerns just, a few feet north. And the fact that we do have 3 liquor stores right there is a part of the problem. So yes, happy to have that conversation. That is news to me. More than happy to have that conversation with Cedric, have a great relationship with him. I would love to understand what he's going for. But yes, it is a concern regardless.
Okay. Do the commissioners have any further questions?
Yes, Mr. Chair, to Mr. Fogelman. In regards to MOU, can you clarify that Mr. Crump from Mead Covens, the president, and also Chris Forrest, the president of York Road Partnership, Inc., support this MOU?
Well, after what's been testified to, who knows? Let me tell you what I do know. I'll tell you that I've been working with Mead Covens counsel with Miss Becky Witt for over a year and a half on this MOU, that just in the past 2 weeks, we circulated this MOU for signature. And just yesterday, she sent me the MOU with Mr. Crump's signature thereon. So there was never, so to be honest, I feel quite sandbagged here, because the last I heard was Mr. Forrest was going to sign on to this agreement and that he may or may not be present at today's hearing. So this is a complete 180 and shocker to me. Nevertheless, it is, and I have had many email conversations with Mr. Crump in an email thread with Ms. Witt, and I've never heard any of this. I've heard we want an MOU. We want you to reduce your hours. We want you to maintain lighting. We want you to maintain security cameras. Let me also add, Your Honor, this is something, Your Honor, Honorable Vice President, Mr. Reisinger, and that is that they've been saying at the liquor board for a very long time, there's no such thing as a bad license. There's a bad operator, okay? And everything that everybody talks about is in the past, in the past, in the past. This is a transfer of ownership only to an existing location. And I think that between the investment and the signing of the MOU, that these applicants are already showing that they're different than the prior management. And I think that we ought to go on that. And I think that this board ought to approve this application, and the applicants will sit down anywhere, anytime with the neighborhood, just as they did several times in the past few years.
All right, we have to put an end to this because we have a long docket. I am not sure that the applicants want us to go forward with this. We have submitted to us an MOU that is not signed by all the proposed parties, and it was not timely filed. And under our rules, we're not to consider it. We've got opposition, long time opposition, and as Commissioner Greenfield points out quite obviously, we didn't create the authority for these licenses to be in this neighborhood, no matter how many there are. We may like it or not like it, but someone has one authorized by law by our General Assembly, and he has the right to sell it to the proper persons. It's not clear to me that the people who have applied here are not the proper persons. And as even Ms. O'Reilly contends, it could be someone like the Pope, and she would oppose it. So that doesn't answer our question. It doesn't help us at all. So I suggest that you withdraw this application now, sit down with the councilman, sit down with the York Road Partnership, try to get them onto this MOU, resolve it all and bring it back, because I have to honestly say, based on the record before me right now, I'm not prepared to approve it. Commissioners?
Yeah, Mr. Chair, I approve your recommendation.
Yeah, I would concur. I don't know if withdrawing the application is the right approach. I think we reset this in for another date and give the parties time to discuss it. I am troubled by the record of this existing license rather, and the number of infractions related to sales to minors is particularly troubling to me. And I'm not sure that the MOU directly speaks to that. And so that's, although again, it was filed late. So I would suggest that perhaps, like we've done in other instances, bring the parties together and reset this in the coming weeks or months.
I'll be happy to request a continuance at this time. I do find it unusual that there is a lack of coordination, that the councilman didn't even know that Mid-Govins had signed on to an MOU as of the date of the time of this hearing.
Well, they
And
didn't do
I
it
do
until
believe in
yesterday, Mr.
communities.
Fogelman.
What's that?
They didn't do it until yesterday. I mean, how's he? I'm sure he has other things on his plate besides
Sure.
that. It's too late. So I'm going to grant your continuance. We'll reset the matter. I strongly recommend that the principals of all these organizations get together with you and with the councilman and try and work it out, because the record before us now is not satisfactory. Okay.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Board has approved a postponement request from the applicant, and this matter will be set at a subsequent upcoming docket of the board pursuant to the order of the chair.
All right. Thank you.
I assume we're ready to move forward, Mr. Chair.
We are.
The next matter then before today's hearings at the board, item number 9, applicant Matthew J. Ackman, Risky Biscuits LLC, trading as Bunnies. Premises are located at 801 to 03 South Ann Street. This is a transfer of ownership only of a Class B7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continuation of outdoor table service. Applicants are also requesting off-premises catering and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Mr. Fogelman is counsel, and his client is also in the room, Mr. Chair.
Okay. One more time, Mr. Fogelman, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of the applicant.
Do you want to proffer this for us?
Yeah, I'll do it best I can. I have a great client who is a member of the bar, the legal bar that is, and who is now getting into the restaurant business. Matt Ackman is present. He's an attorney, lives here in Fells Point in the same neighborhood as the former wharf rat. Purchased 801 to 803 South Ann Street with the desire to bring upscale cuisine and a full kitchen into the facility. Mr. Ackman, like me, a lawyer, knows better than to start tinkering with menus and serving drinks. So he's bringing in a team that, quite frankly, are household names in the Baltimore restaurant scene. Brian Aquavella and Jesse Sandlin, two well-regarded chefs who understand how to run an excellent restaurant. And Mr. Ackman, again, lives in the neighborhood. He's invested in this city. He understands the rules and regulations of the Baltimore City Liquor Board, going to implement a carding system of anybody who appears to be under 40, and is extremely excited about this concept in his own neighborhood. Not only did he meet with the Fells Point Residents Association, who were wildly supportive of the change of ownership and the change of concept, but he also sat down personally with David Marks, the former president of the Fells Point Residents Association, who happens to be his very next door neighbor. Everyone I've spoken to is excited about this project and excited about a next chapter for this very old historical building.
And the team that's going to operate it, they're all going to be certified and familiar with our rules and regulations?
100%, Your Honor.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions.
No questions.
We have public comment. Mr. Blendi.
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter before the board, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I do not see anyone who has raised their hand.
All right. And I note that I don't see any violations in connection with this facility either. So on the basis of the materials contained in the application and the proffer by Mr. Fogelman, I vote to approve this application to transfer ownership of a BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued outdoor table service, off-premises catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I also vote to approve the application to transfer ownership with the continuation of outdoor table service and the request for off-premise catering and also delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service, off-premise catering, and delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Fogelman. Good luck to Mr. Ackman.
Thank you guys very much. Appreciate it.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee, applicant, and council will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to complete this transfer, which was preliminarily approved by the board today and by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
And the next matter on today's docket, licensee Judith Neff, Checker Sprat Brewing LLC, trading as Checker Sprat Brewing. Premises are located at 175 West Austin Street, Suite B1. And this is an application to transfer ownership of an existing Class D beer license that exists in conjunction with a Class 5 license. I believe Mr. Fogelman is also counsel on this one. Is that correct?
Yes, correct.
All right. One more time, Mr. Fogelman.
Thank you. Stephen W. Fogelman on behalf of applicant Judith Neff.
Okay. And will you
This one is probably my easiest one of the day. This is just a former partner was bought out, which moved the ownership interests around and required the filing of an application. Nothing is changing. Owner Stephen Marsh has left the company, and his shares have been distributed according to the application, the sheet of investors in the application. So nothing's going to change. They serve world-class beer, one of the best breweries in the state. They are locally owned. Judith and Robert Neff, the majority shareholders, live in Patterson Park, active in their community, and they're a joy to have around in Baltimore.
Okay. So the people who run the operation and have been running the operation are going to continue to run the operation?
They're taking on more ownership than they originally had.
Okay. All right. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
No questions.
Do we have public comment on this, Mr. Blendi?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, I don't see anyone who's raised their hand.
Okay. And again, I see no record of violations on this license. So on the basis of the materials contained in the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class D beer license. Approve. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also vote to approve the application for transfer of ownership.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Fogelman, I too would approve the application to transfer ownership.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
Okay. Thank you again, Mr. Fogelman. Good luck to Ms. Neff.
Thank you. I hope you all have a wonderful holiday season. I'll see you in January, God willing. Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee will receive follow-up instructions from this agency via mail on how to legally complete the transfer that was preliminarily approved today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
Then the next matter before the board, licensee Nadine Tarby Richards, Denzel Richards, and Ronald Dare, Tarby Richards Incorporated, trading as Denzel's Shark Bar and Grill. Premises are located at 801 South Broadway. This is an existing Class B beer, wine, and liquor license, and the request before the board is to add live entertainment to the license. Mr. Kadensky is counsel and has been moved into the panel, Mr. Chair.
Good morning, Mr. Kadensky. Please identify yourself for the record.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadensky, representing the licensees and applicants here who are with me, right behind me.
Okay. Can you explain to us why they're adding live entertainment?
Well, in that area, I'm sure all of you probably frequented Jimmy's restaurant when I was down there in Felspin on the square. The owners now bought they own the building, and they're improving the restaurant business. But what they do need is something a little extra, and the places around them do have some live entertainment, so they're asking that to be added to the license. The place is not very big, so it would be a 2 or 3 piece group, maybe DJ and some karaoke to add to the business, so they can prolong it a little bit past the dinner hour.
Okay. Do the commissioners have questions?
No questions.
Mr. Kadinsky, any issues with the community? I assume there is none, given where its location is.
Oh, no. The fact that we're warmly received, and they took over the restaurant, made some improvements, and they're doing very well.
Okay, thank you. Nothing further.
Do we have others who wish to testify, Mr. Blendi?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. No one has raised their hand, Mr. Chair.
All right. Okay. Mr. Kaninsky, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I vote to approve the request to add live entertainment to this Class B beer, wine, and liquor license. Commissioner?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on testimony provided today, I also approve the request to add live entertainment.
Based upon the application of proffer from Mr. Kadinsky, I would approve the request to add live entertainment.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits for the record.
All right, thank you, Mr. Kaninsky. Good luck to your clients.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee will receive correspondence from this agency on how to obtain the newly approved live entertainment on their existing license. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. Mr. Kadinsky, was it all 3 licensees that were with you?
No, just 2 of them.
Oh, which one?
Mr. Nadine Tarby Richardson and Denzel Richards.
Oh, and,
okay, thank you.
And also, if your camera's not on, Mr. Kadinsky, so if you want to turn that on.
It's not.
Nope.
I got it. Now? You see it now?
Yeah, well, there it is. All right. Mr. Chair, are we ready to move forward?
We are.
Then the next matter is also Mr. Kadinsky's client and is licensee Christian Wilkins, Happy Dog Incorporating, trading as Todd Connors, 700 South Broadway. This is an application to transfer ownership only with continuation of outdoor table service of an existing Class BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license.
I'm sorry, are they represented by counsel?
Yeah, Mr. Kadinsky is counsel. I'm sorry, Mr. Chair.
Okay. Again, Mr. Kadinsky, please.
For the record, Melvin J. Kadinsky representing the licensee and applicant. This is a, Mr. Wilkins has been on the license, has been on there for, 7 or 8 years, operated the place. The 2 people that are coming off the license are his parents. They decided to go into full-time retirement. He's going to continue to operate the place, won't be any change. There was just, since there was a majority change in the stockholders, there was a request for this hearing.
Okay. Commissioners have any questions?
No questions.
Mr. Greenfield?
Question. Sorry, no questions.
That's okay. Do we have anyone else who wishes to testify, Mr. Blendi?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature in the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, no one has raised their hand.
Okay. Mr. Kaninsky, on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proffer, I vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this BD7 beer, wine, and liquor license with continued outdoor table service. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on the testimony provided today, I also approve the application to transfer ownership with the continuation of outdoor table service.
Based upon the application and the proffer from Mr. Kadinsky, I too would approve the application to transfer ownership with continuation of outdoor table service.
Thank you, Ms. Russell.
No exhibits.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kaninsky. Good luck to this gentleman. I hope his parents have a good retirement.
I hope so too. Thank you.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee will receive follow-up or correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete this transfer that was preliminarily approved today by the board. Ready for the final item, Mr. Chair?
Yes, sir.
Then the last item before the board today Applicant Kiara Latrice Proctor, P&M Properties Solutions LLC, trading as Edna's Place. Premises are located at 2148 Wilkins Avenue, and this is an application to transfer ownership and requesting delivery of alcoholic beverages of a Class D beer, wine, and liquor license. And Mr. Kadensky is counsel, Mr. Chair.
One last time, Mr. Kadensky, please.
For the record, Melvin J. Nancy representing the applicant in this case. This is an application to transfer a small tavern. It's a 6-day, has the 10 o'clock restriction on it in that area. The applicant has been tending bar for the last 3 or 4 years. Is familiar with the rules and regulations of the board. We'll update our alcohol awareness certificate, and also we'll get fingerprinted. The place will be run by herself and her parents who have bought the building, and she'll be the full-time operator of that location.
And you say she's been the bartender there for some time?
Not there, other locations for about 3 or 4 years. So she is familiar with, having the card people and so forth.
Okay, because this location has had some violations, and 2 of them in 2019. So please make her aware that we're looking carefully at it.
Yeah, and I think that she's to be very vigilant in the thing. I think the owners that are in now have decided that they want to move on, and then she'll be a new, refreshing person for that area.
And I think you mentioned that she's aware of the restricted hours, right?
That's correct. The 10 o'clock hours due to the statute.
Okay. Commissioners have questions?
No questions, Mr. Chair.
Mr. Kadensky, it appears that there's a Mr. Nigel Proctor that's a 95% owner. Can you tell us anything about him?
That's her dad.
Okay. And
So
is he
he's-
local?
Oh, yeah. And he's responsible for her being here.
Oh, well, you pretty much answered that question. Thank you, Mr. Kadensky,
Right.
as always.
Do we have public comment, Mr. Blendi?
If any member of the public wishes to testify on this matter, please use the raise your hand feature on the WebEx platform. Mr. Chair, no one has raised their hand.
Okay. Mr. Kadensky, then on the basis of the materials contained in the application and your proper, I would vote to approve the application to transfer ownership of this Class D beer, wine, and liquor license with delivery of alcoholic beverages. Commissioners?
Yes, Mr. Chair, based on the testimony provided today, I also approve the application to transfer ownership and request delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Based upon the application, the proffer from Mr. Kadensky, I too would approve the transfer of ownership with the delivery of alcoholic beverages.
Thank you. Ms. Russell?
No exhibits for the record.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Kadensky. Good luck to Ms. Proctor.
All right. You all have a nice holiday, okay?
You too.
That concludes this matter before the board. Licensee or applicant will receive follow-up correspondence from this agency with instructions on how to legally complete the transfer that was preliminarily approved by the board today, which by law must occur within 180 days of today's hearing. And that, I believe, was the last item. Mr. Chairman, is there anything you wish to discuss?
No, let's proceed.
Then I will read the adjournment. The board will be in recess until January 13th, 2022. The board shall post on its website, provide notice to the applicants and/or attorneys, and conduct a virtual hearing on this date. Please call our office at 410-396-4377 between 8:30 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. with any questions or concerns you have on this or any these matters or any other.
Yeah,
Okay.
Mr. Chair.
Yes, Mr. Commissioner?
Yes, I just want to wish everyone a happy and healthy holiday.
Thank you. Same to you, sir. So I wanted to, as always, I want to thank the commissioners. I want to thank the board and all the staff of the board for all their good work. It's been this brings us to the end of the year. So special thanks to everyone. And as Commissioner Reister said, best wishes for happy holidays for everybody. Let's pray that 2022 brings some relief from this pandemic. It's been rough, but thank you, and please enjoy it with your families and friends. We'll see you in January.
Thank you.
Off the record, ma'am.